At least 51 people, including children, have been reported killed so far in southeastern Spain after flash floods hit multiple regions. Torrential rains swept through towns, dragging cars, downing bridges and derailing a train. Videos shared on social media appear to show people trapped in floodwaters, some hanging on trees to avoid being swept away. The number of people killed in those flash floods is expected to rise as other regions are yet to report victims. And search efforts are also continuing in areas with difficult access. The Valencian government's Emergency Coordination Centre said it was beginning the process of collecting and identifying victims. Meanwhile, the regional president there says it's still impossible to provide an exact figure.
And welcome to Britain's Newsroom. Well, as you heard in the news, at least 51 people have died in flash floods in southeastern Spain after torrential rain swept through multiple regions. Valencia's authorities are warning the death toll could rise even further. They're using drones to search for the missing. Let's talk to GB News reporter Charlie Peters. Charlie, these are extraordinary death toll, 51 already.
Yeah, and they're still searching for dozens more who are unaccounted for. And we've also heard from the president of the region saying that it's impossible to put a figure at this stage on those who may have lost their lives. And some of the footage that we've seen this morning coming out of the east of the country is truly extraordinary. Cars being swept down streets amid rapid flooding across multiple regions. We've seen floodwaters causing chaos. Some of that footage you're seeing now just running under a bridge, but some bridges have been knocked down, dragging cars through the streets. Another video I've seen appears to show people clinging onto trees to avoid being swept away. And it comes after over 490 millimetres of rain fell in just 8 hours on Tuesday, the equivalent to a year's worth in just 8 hours. So radio and TV stations in the Valencia region have been receiving hundreds of calls for people saying that they need help, that they're trapped in flooded areas, or those searching for loved ones as emergency services continue to fight against these torrid conditions to reach people.
Using the internet without a VPN is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. We want to help protect you. This video's sponsor, Private Internet Access, is the VPN to help keep you safe. Now, you might be asking, what is a VPN? Well, a virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and safeguards your internet connection through an encrypted tunnel. This way, it shields your digital life from the eyes of those that are looking to exploit your private information. Whenever you connect to the internet on a public Wi-Fi network, such as at airports, coffee shops, friends' houses, or even in your own home, your data is at risk of being stolen. Hackers that are connected to the same Wi-Fi network have the ability to steal your personal data with ease. T-Mobile reached a settlement this year with the US Federal Communications Commission after they suffered data breaches in 2021, 22, and 23. In 2023 alone, over 37 million customers' data was exposed. And it's not just hackers to be concerned about. Information can be censored. When Canada passed their C-18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news content that you love. Private Internet Access is available for all platforms: Windows, macOS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one Private Internet Access subscription to protect an unlimited number of devices at the same time. Plus, we've got a huge GB News discount. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get 83% off PIA. That is under £2 a month, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free. There's also a 30-day money-back guarantee. So head to piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today.
A local official called Milagros Tolón told the Spanish public television station TVE that the priority at the moment is just to find people because some have been stranded in their cars overnight. There are people taking shelter on rooftops and bridges waiting to be rescued. Some of the footage that we're showing you now, just the sheer devastation. That's one of those collapsed bridges I imagined that I was referring to in the last minute.
Absolutely extraordinary.
It just pushing through urban and rural areas in the east of the country. You can see a fire truck on the right there. The emergency services have been reacting as much as they possibly can to the widespread devastation. And the Spanish Prime Minister, Pedro Sánchez, he said in a post on X that he was following the reports of missing people with concern, and he urged people to follow the advice of the authorities to avoid unnecessary trips. But at the moment, even necessary trips are being impossible to achieve. I've seen footage of cars stacked up on each other on the roads.
You just don't, when you watch these images and read about it, you think, Spain? Really? Valencia is where people in this country go on holiday.
Yeah, and this is raging mud-coloured flooding. This is not the sort of footage you expect
in urban Spain.
Not at all. And several dead bodies, unfortunately, have already been found in some of these flood-affected areas. When you think of Spain, Andrew, as you said, that sort of image doesn't come to mind of people floating past, having been killed by this appalling natural disaster, but they won't specify how many.
Was there any warning that the scale of the rainfall that was coming in the flash floods? Were they caught unawares?
That seems to be the case, because some transport was suspended in the hours before, but flights were operating as normal. But now they have been cancelled. So 10 flights that were due to arrive or depart at the airport in the region, they've now been cancelled. That's at Valencia Airport, of course, due to the heavy rain, but also strong winds. This isn't just about the flooding. There are a wide range of storm-related concerns occurring at the moment. And also the national rail operator has suspended its high-speed trains between Madrid and Valencia, the eastern port city, due to the effects of the storm. Many main points on the rail system have been taken down because of this. I should say that on that point, I mean, just to point out the lack of understanding or the forewarning that was there, that one high-speed train with 276 passengers actually derailed in the southern region of Andalusia. But nobody was injured, the regional government said.
They're very lucky there, because I mean, obviously there's going to be a huge rebuilding operation once they've discovered just the scale of the fatalities. But, Charlie, people are going to ask why they weren't better prepared for it.
Well, a red alert was declared in the Valencia region, and that's the second highest level of alert. Was also put out in some parts of Andalusia where you had that train derailing. Several roads have been shut in both regions due to this flooding. And this intense raindrop has been attributed, according to climate and environmental reporters, to something known as the gota fria, which is the cold drop. And that happens when cold air moves over the warm waters of the Med, which can occur quite seasonally, but it can also instigate what I've seen described elsewhere as rapid atmospheric instability, where that warm air can rise rapidly, very suddenly, catching potentially the authorities off guard, and then you have significant clouds that are formed in a matter of hours, really a fast turnaround, and then that dumps heavy rain in that location. And I think that's what's caused, as we said, Andrew, a year's worth of rain in 8 hours.
And is that it? There's no more, they're not predicting any more extreme weather conditions?
Well, the weather warnings remain. I mean, it depends on how much that cold drop continues. But with all of the transport suspended, you imagine most of that's due to what's already occurred. But I haven't seen any briefing on what might come up next. The main message being issued by the Spanish authorities is, please don't travel, don't make unnecessary trips, because we're trying our hardest to make the necessary trips amid really appalling scenes in many of these towns. Not just the infrastructure being ruined, but the sight of people being swept away, dead or alive, in these really appalling weather conditions.
And it's so brown, that water. I mean, it's really, it's upended so much land. Amazing.
And at least 51 dead at this stage, but they don't know just the extent to which it'll be.
We'll bring you up to it. The death toll is 51, and it looks like almost certainly it's going to rise. Thank you, Charlie. That's Charlie Peters.